BTC and 32 ETH.
Welcome back, hard forkers. 1 Bitcoin and 32 Ethereum, the show where we endeavor to uncover hidden gems for you, demonstrate the utility of many projects out there in the blockchain space, and obviously highlight the big news. And guys, there's been so much news in the last week. Obviously, Elon Musk, you've been under a rock if you don't know about that. $1.5 billion. Thoughts on that, guys?
To the moon!
Well, no doubt. We've also got this this popping up in the press today as well. Obviously, just a rumor at this point about Apple potentially coming in. Personally, I expect to see a flood of institutional money. I know Max Kaiser is also calling out Oracle as potentially the next cab off the rank, putting part of their treasury into Bitcoin. So a lot of happy Bitcoiners out there at the moment, guys.
Well, there is one thing. Michael Burry, which everybody knows because of like the Big Short, obviously, he said that in his opinion, Musk and Tesla has bought like the Bitcoin to take away attention from the fact that they're having some issues in China for quality production. And that the entire pump that has actually been going on Doge, it just like a proof that we are in a massive, enormous, gigantic bubble and nothing else. Now, these are not my words, it's not my opinion, but it's a guy that like knows things, that's for sure. So, you know, just thought that it was interesting.
Yeah, all right, Stefano throwing a bit of Bitcoin FUD out there to be expected as our Ethereum man. So,
No, I'm not saying that's the thing. I'm just reporting what Michael Burry has been saying, that then has deleted those tweets on Twitter. And here's the thing: what is unclear on this message is he talking about like the entire crypto sphere, or is he talking about just Doge? Because if we're considering just Doge, I think that we can all agree that that it's kind of weird that the value is there, that the pump is there, is the meme, so we support the meme. But apart from that stopped there. Is very inclined and like trying to bring it that the entire blockchain space is in the bubble right now? That I don't know. He didn't say that, so I'm not trying to put words there, and it's not FUD. But what is interesting is that his point seems to be that Tesla's bought Bitcoin not really because of like the belief in Bitcoin, but more because on like taking away attention from other problems that they are having at the moment.
Okay. Not sure if I'm overly worried about Michael Burns' comments, but guys, as we always do, we've got a hell of a lot to get through today. But first up, meme of the week. Very good, very good. Now, coming up today, people, we are looking at a couple of new projects that we've had a chat with the founders. That is Ethanol, the ENOL token, and also Modefi. There are links below this video to check out the long form interviews. And in Modefi's case, they're actually launching today. So we encourage you to get over and check that out. We're going to be having also a chat on Enol. We're going to show you what that's all about. But sort of leading into that, I think a good segue here is obviously these Ethereum gas prices, and we've had some massive news out of MATIC today. So the price is skyrocketing up as we speak. Stefano, do you want to tell us what's happened there?
Sure. Well, first, they rebrand, so they have a new name, and that's obviously the reason why everybody's like, oh my God, new name to the moon. No, I'm joking. So MATIC has become Polygon, and in super simple, what they're doing is that they're becoming Polkadot on Ethereum. So if you are familiar, the reason why a lot of people are super bullish on Polkadot is that reason that we're like on POS and we have all of these independent shards. So imagine having like 50 different like blockchains that are running all on its own, that can be specific on their own concept, but they're all using the same network at the end, the same validators at the end, and the same currency, obviously, to do that. Now, Ethereum 2.0 is trying to go into that direction, obviously, but as we know, we're like a couple of years away from having that. The gas price is super high, we're having issues here and there, and so on. Now, MATIC traditionally is a layer 2, which means that you have only one single layer 2 chain. So everything goes on MATIC, and then like from there goes into Ethereum. What MATIC is doing now is basically like multiplying those layer 2s to like multiple shards. So it means, in super simple terms, that the amount of users and usage that can actually be held by the Polygon ecosystem at this point, because the name has changed, has basically increased to enormous numbers. So this is super, super good, because it actually makes a much easier user experience for someone that is already in Ethereum to actually jump from Ethereum to Polygon. And the other good thing is that it's very bullish on Ethereum as well, because with the gas price and the situation of the gas price, a lot of people will start saying that like side chains were actually like a good investment at that point. Polkadot, the Binance side chain, Tron, you name it, basically. What MATIC is doing is basically kind of like saving Ethereum at this point, or like giving more oxygen to Ethereum, because the transactions are going to run on the Polygon chain, but then ultimately they're going to be combined all together and sent to the Ethereum layer 1 chain. So transactions are still going to happen on the main net of Ethereum, which is still going to require ETH to function, and like classic ecosystem as we had before. So yeah, it's big news. It's a huge thing for the industry.
Awesome. So it would be I guess a direct threat to Polkadot is what I'm hearing from you.
Potentially, yeah. To be honest, now obviously everybody has like different opinions on this, but if I'm a developer and I'm already having a product on Ethereum, which chances are that I do, because it's the most used chain available, jumping from Ethereum to Polkadot. Now, if I'm using a product like Moonbeam, that should be fairly simple, because I can use an Ethereum virtual machine. But Moonbeam is not yet available, if I'm not mistaken. And on the other side, for the user, there's still the need of actually like doing that jump from Ethereum to Polkadot. While in the case of MATIC, well, I'm already on a layer 2, so I'm already on an Ethereum virtual machine. So the translation, the transfer of the code of the decentralized application, it's fairly quick and easy. And the user is already in that ecosystem, because you're still at the end of the day on Ethereum. So we're really talking about just like changing an RPC on your MetaMask, and that's it.
Yep.
So, what's the need at that point for a developer to go and look for something else when you have something directly there in your house that you can use? So, I'm not saying that Polkadot is going to disappear or anything like that, but, it's a very good case on MATIC, to be honest.
Okay, excellent. Now, obviously, we know these ETH fees. I went to do a transaction about half an hour ago. It was over $50 to do it. We're going to be having a look at a potential solution. Obviously, a project that in our previous videos you've been talking about, the ethanol, or just this whole new area of gas farming. We sat down with the couple of the key guys from that project. As I mentioned, there's a link to the long form. We're going to go through that project, show you what it's all about in a moment. But first, just a quick summary of other projects that we have looked at throughout the series, just highlighting a few on the positive. Hex is up a whopping 70% over the last week. We've had some land sell for huge amounts of money on the Axie Infinity marketplace. Do you want to quickly comment on that, guys?
Sure. Well, they sold 9 Genesis land, all next to each other, so like an entire line basically, for 888.25 ETH, which in super simple term is $1.5 million.
Wow.
Million dollars.
I think that speaks louder than than any possible comment we can have on this.
So needless to say, you two are extremely bullish on the whole Axie ecosystem.
It's the biggest NFT sales on history. Like, is that gonna stop there? I don't know. To be honest, I doubt. I think that, like, records are made to be broken every single time. But man, 1.5 million. Like,
it's crazy too, because you think about like Decentraland.
Yeah.
How long they've been building that, right? Virtual land. They haven't achieved anything close to that. Axie is still being built. They're still building the land play, right?
That's true.
They kind of went different ways. Like Decentraland, they built the world first, and then they're letting people populate it with games and activities and whatever they want to do. Where Axie built the game first, gameplay, the story, and now they're building out the land to work around that.
Yeah.
So super interesting to see develop.
Okay. Now, on a bit of a negative, we've had the situation with DMG. So having a look at their Twitter today, after a fairly watered down message from these guys last week, they have come out today and basically said that on the 15th of December, DMM received an investigative subpoena from the United States Security and Exchange Commission, the SEC, the same crowd that are obviously looking at XRP at the moment. And yeah, they're effectively winding up here by the look of it. I have endeavored to contact Corey Kaplan, who is one of the founders of the project. So anything we can get sort of directly from the horse's mouth on this, we will keep you updated on it. But obviously, if you are a DMM holder, I'm sure you're aware of this. If you're not, sorry to be breaking that news to you, but you can get over to their Twitter where they've put out quite a bit of information today. So that's a bit of a stinker.
35% today.
Sorry?
It's up 35% today.
Okay. Yeah, I think you guys sold that quite a while ago, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's never really got out of the blocks. So, yeah, we haven't really been talking about it too much. So, yeah, the rest of the projects are all ticking along. We're going to have a bit more of a look at Block Jewelers in the coming weeks as that rolls out. But guys, yeah, we've got a couple of new projects here. So Enol, which Stefano, you obviously have taken a decent position in that over the last couple of weeks. So we'll get your thoughts on how that's working out for you so far. They've kindly donated a token to us where we're now going to be able to use it individually. Check out the utility over the coming weeks, how it's all working. You're going to be hear from us individually on what we think, what our individual experiences are. Kind of the purposes of the show is to give you our different perspectives. We often don't agree on things. So that's the whole idea of the show, people. But on that note, we want to let you know about this project. So Stefano, do you want to do a screen share of the website and just give people the basics, and we'll have a bit of a chat on it.
Sure. Now, I hope that things are gonna look good because MetaMask is acting a bit weird at the moment. But let's see. Can you see it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me enlarge that. There. Okay. Perfect. So ethanol, what it does is it's quite straightforward and super simple. When you're doing a transaction, we spoke about this many times, and you're paying like those $20, $30, $50, $80 on gas fees. Ethanol is basically like giving you those money that you spend in gas back in the form of the Enol token. Now, to give you an idea, the Enol token is currently going for $931.98, so $932 basically. It's fairly easy. The way that it works is that you need to hold at least one Enol in your wallet nothing else. You just hold that in your wallet. You don't have to stake it. You don't have to do anything at all on that. If the page loads, it would be quite nice to show you the price structure, but internet is doing a bit on its own at the moment. But either way, so you need at least one enol in order to like start receiving this cash back. And it works in a way that is like 2.5% of the amount that you have on your wallet. So from 1 to 100, as you can see on the website. So that's basically like the ratio what everybody are going to be, I assume, because I doubt that someone is going to buy more than the 100 enol, to be honest. And you're basically going to look at like the 2.5% daily cap. So for example, if you have $1,000, which is like fairly a little bit more than like one enol, so that's kind of like a good example, you can gain around like $25 on cashback. Now, $25 is potentially like one transaction or a half transaction, depends on what you're doing. But at least like you get that on payback. Now, all the other things that like are described here, like the voting and so on, just ignore them at the moment, because majority of the things are going to be issued like in the future and are kind of like not available or not super important for the time being. Apart from that, the system is like very, very simple. So you have your dashboard. Let me see if I can log in and everything works well. So you can actually like see how is the process and so on. But basically what you do is that like you have your dashboard. It's a decentralized application. So as per usual, you need to be logged in on your MetaMask. And as soon as the page loads, you will be able to see like basically what a user that used the platform can see. Meanwhile, that the platform is loading, few informations that are actually important. The website tells you that you receive 100% of the cashback of what you're doing. So if you're spending those $20 in gas, they're gonna give you back $20 in enol token. However, there is a little bit of a catch on this. So in order to like get back the cash back, you need to redeem that. You need to claim those tokens. When you're claiming those tokens, there is a 10% fee that happens. And so the 10% fees means that like your cash back goes from being like 90% in reality, not really a 100%. On top of that, every time that you're doing a transaction using that token, so for example, you're using Uniswap because you want to like exchange those tokens for Ethereum, or vice versa, you want to buy them, there is a 4% fees that has been considered in the transaction model. So again, you're at that point looking at a 14% from start to end. The 14% means that you ending up having like an 86% on your money. This is important for one thing in particular. If you're buying that token on Uniswap and you need at least one to receive your cash back, make sure that you're having a little bit more than one enol, because there is that 4% tax that you're going to have, and you don't want to end up with that like 0.96%. But apart from that, that's pretty much it. So you're basically receiving like in real terms 86% of what you're spending in gas. Every single day, the top up, the maximum amount that you can get, recharge, restart, and you can claim whenever you want. It's not like a timing thing and so on. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, well, we'll check back on their website and see if it's actually back up. And
look, at the moment, I'm like, I tried to claim on Balancer. I got like an error from MetaMask. Like I think the MetaMask is having some issues at the moment because nothing relating to blockchain is loading for me.
Yeah, so listen, on this project, people, we did a very thorough chat with one of the key developers on the project, and also a guy called Crypto Rick, who's a marketing guy working on that project. So I'd encourage you to get along and check that out. And obviously they've made that donation to us. So on the show, we're going to look at it on a weekly basis. Some initial reactions from people I've spoken to are a little too good to be true. Personally, like we do with a lot of projects on the show, we're getting in there and trying it out, so you can literally see how we go. It's obviously seen massive price appreciation. I think you bought it sub $400, didn't you, Stefano? It's
Potentially, yeah.
skyrocketed to-
Like if I'm thinking about just like the price appreciation without the cashback and so on, but just like the poor token part, I think I cash in like a 70% return in 2 weeks at the moment.
Okay. Now, I also believe that you are able to join a pre-sale of another token through these guys if you're a holder of one ENOL, and I believe that's happening today. Is that
Correct. So there are a few things on that. One, the point of all of these things is that like 86% of cashback is cool, but obviously, it's blockchain space. So a lot of other projects are popping up. To give you like an idea of other name, there is Gas G, which is another token that does like something similar. There is UNDG. When I bought into these things, I got like both ENOL and UNDG. And the cool part of that is that like the cashback sums up. So actually when you're doing your own transaction, you're paying like those $20, $30, $40 on gas price, you're actually receiving the like 86% from token A, token B, token C, and so on. So you're actually ending up farming free tokens from other projects at that point, which is pretty cool because you're getting like your normal transaction plus a benefit instead of like a cost for doing things. Now, the other things is that like, so Gas G is the first example of like why the ENOL token is kind of like a good things to have in the wallet at the moment, which like the Gas G token got airdrop to people that were holding the ENOL token. So that's like a first thing that I got received like a 0.2 ETH on pure airdrop. So some free money. Wow. It's never a bad thing. Today, so the team of ENOL is also launching Gasify. Gasify is basically like an aggregator that allows you to supercharge, let's put it like that, the cashback that you receive from these projects. So if you have ENOL token and you add on top of that Gasify, your return from ENOL should like kind of like be boosted up or something like that. There is like some gamification in place on this place. And the pre-sales of Gasify is indeed today, and it's going to be available only and exclusively to people that has ENOL token in their wallet. For phase 2 and so on, that is going to come after, and it's going to be available for people that do not have the token. However, there is also to mention the fact that like if you do not hold any of these tokens, the ENOL, but it could be like some other gas back token like Gas G and so on. The Gasify token is not really going to boost anything because 0 multiplied by something is always going to be 0. So you still need to start from ENOL or UNDG and so on, and then like make your way up. But yes, there is a pre-sale right now happening to people that own that token.
Yep. So, Mr. Gonzo, what are your thoughts on sort of gas farming in general and on ENOL, sort of positives and negatives as you see them at this point?
Positive. Yeah, I'm loving the fact that it's covering my gas costs. I've actually started using Ethereum again after a couple of weeks, months. I pretty much stopped, just like did the bare minimum. I'd buy some stuff that was like absolutely nowhere else and really, really cheap and just bite the bullet with the cost and the gas. But it's totally needed. I jumped in. I bought some personally for my own personal wallets. And then we got the competition wallet now. So I can kick up my axes again, get some more breeding going, which would be sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, with any of these projects that just start up, there's a quick hype cycle, could possibly, it could get rugged right away, but it seems to be working right now. Everybody's into it. The model seems intelligent. They'd be stupid to rug, there's so much more potential there. So I don't think, with anything in crypto, there is a risk, right? But you got to make hay while the getting's good, right? So jumped in. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I liked about these guys, they were very approachable. I think they obviously picked up that we were talking about their project, as opposed to sort of other other projects we've spoken to that wanted to remain anonymous and not show their faces. You can see from, we asked plenty of questions in the long form interview. I think, as Jordan's alluded to there, nothing is certain in the crypto space, but these guys have stuck their face out there. We are using it, we're trialing it. We'll individually let you know our thoughts as this whole new sort of gas farming space evolves. But yeah, I mean, look, early indications, it's working. Is that in a sort of a nutshell for you guys at this point? You've is there anything that you're sort of flagging as worrying you at this stage, or it's doing what it says it does up to this point?
We talked about it, I think, but the website is a bit buggy. Was it this morning? They had a DDoS attack, right?
Oh,
yeah. Reading from the website or the Telegram, somebody took over the server, tried to blackmail them. They got the service back, and it's all under control. It's no big deal.
Okay.
From what I understood quickly.
Okay.
I think that what Jordan mentioned, I think that kind of like nails the point of like, he's back on using Ethereum now. And it's true. It gets that thing then like, you're almost happy that, whatever is the gas price, you don't really care. It's like, yeah, I need to do this, I need to do that. And that's what I say, like, when I bought like the two of them, Enol and UNDG, a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if this is gonna like turn out to be like a good thing or a bad thing. That I have no idea. Everybody needs to like take their own judgment on that. But at least like for me, is one of those things that, because I use decentralized application on a daily basis, and for little things, you want to buy an NFT on OpenSea that costs like $10 and you have like $50 of gas price. Either you stop and you don't do anything, or thanks to solutions like this, now you can do that.
Yep.
You're back on doing what you would traditionally do. Plus you're actually not having that issue of the gas anymore. So I don't know if it's going to play out to be a good thing or a bad thing, but for sure, at least at this specific moment, I'm capable of doing things that otherwise without that, I would never be able to do.
Right. Okay. I mean, look, in a nutshell, absolutely worth looking at very closely, which is what we're doing. So stay with us for our coverage of this new sort of sector of the blockchain space, and obviously specifically Enol. Thanks to those guys for that donation. It gives us the ability to demonstrate to the audience how it all works, and we'll be doing that on the weekly. So links to their media are below, and also obviously check out the long form interview with the guys from that project. It's pretty thorough, so there's everything you need to know in there. Now, moving on, guys, the other project that we've spoken to this week is Modefi. Mr. Gonzo, I believe that you're actually doing a little bit of work with them. So you just want to quickly tell us about that, and then we'll have a look at the website and go through the project for you.
Yeah, so Modefi is a aggregator for oracles. So they've got a couple applications where you can go and you can shop for your oracles. You're not just limited to one provider. Modefi, more problems.
Yeah, so give us a bit of a high-level overview of these guys, and then obviously we'll get to what's happening with them today.
So for anybody in blockchain that needs a kind of an aggregated price, the oracles, they have a marketplace where you can go and pick more than just your one source. So it makes everything more secure, and the data is more reliable because it's not just from one place.
Chainlink obviously being the main place at the moment, correct?
Yep, and the Band and Trello and Oracleize, I think Stefano is using. So what it does is it just helps give people more options, and then they also have a really nice plug and play option that they're coming up with, so people will be able to create their own oracles for different data feeds that they need. So they're expanding the usability from just data price feeds into other things where you can get, you need a price for, or you need a score in a game, right? You can get your score from ESPN, TSN, and all these other different places instead of just one place. I mean, obviously, you don't get sports teams cooking the scores, but as an example, they've got a DAO. They're gonna the governance voting. Excuse me. They've been building for quite a while, so it's interesting to see how they're just doing the market sale, or the pre-sale right now, which is coming up in a couple hours, I think, like 12 hours or less. So they're doing it on Trustswap, which is initial DEX offering, where you have to hold some tokens from swap. Once you get your swap tokens, then you can purchase into the pre-sale. So got a bunch of partners lined up. Everything's going well. They've got a fairly technical team. They're doing pretty well. Yeah.
Okay, Stefano, your thoughts on this project?
Well, a couple of things for me that, like, number one, they issued yesterday the fact that they're working with Block Pass, and I have a super high respect for the team at Block Pass, because in my company, Corporatio, we use them as well. So it's nice to see that there is a little bit of connection over there. The second thing is that the product that they're building, the fact that it's like cross-chain, that goes like on layer 2s and those type of things, from a development point of view, it's actually very well needed. Jordan mentioned that, like, we're using Oracleized, and now that we're migrating from Ethereum to XDAI, we're actually having a lot of issues with that, because Oracleized is not supported on XDAI, which means that we need to, like, do the job from scratch once again. Modified is potentially, like, solving this issue completely. And in the time where we're seeing, like, layer 2s coming up, cross-chain, like all of this craziness happening with, like, where do you go? Where do you migrate your decentralized application and so on? Having at least one piece relating to the oracles in this specific case that will not change based on, like, where you're jumping is very good, which obviously translates to the fact that if a lot of people, a lot of communities, developers are starting using this, it goes on, we are the clients at the end of the day, which means that the system is going to make money. If the system is going to make money, it means that potentially in the future, that could be a very positive thing for the government's token that they're launching. We've seen that with AXS, where they decide to issue, like, part of the revenue that is generating on the marketplace. Other governments' tokens are starting doing that. I mean, like, public votes where they decide to allocate the percentage of the revenue that is generating from the marketplace for the token holders. So Modefi could do, in theory, something like that in the future. So the structure is there. The potential for a product like this are 100% there. Would I jump into the pre-sale? Me personally, no. But I would not do that, not because of them, but because of the decision of going to Trustswap. The simple fact of having to buy 3,000 tokens of something else, which at today values are like, what, $4,000, $5,000, whatever it is, to me is a bummer, because, like, I don't want to put down $5,000 on another project just to buy in on something else. But on the potential of the project per se, yeah, absolutely. That is something that could go pretty far.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's only 3,600, Stefano.
Oh, sorry. All in. Yeah, I mean, look, that's often the barrier for a lot of these pre-sales. I know some of the other projects that were launched on Trustswap have done very well. So if you got that sort of money, you can get in. That's happening today, and obviously, I believe the public sale is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is it on the 16th that you'll be able to buy this on Uniswap?
That on Uniswap,
yeah, the 16th,
yes.
yeah. But the time isn't determined.
Okay. So yeah, heads up. You can check that out. There's links below to the interview with Ryan, the CEO, who I thought was a pretty impressive character. If you want to get into the pre-sale, that is happening today, and public sale in a week. So yeah, look, I'm no expert in this particular area of the market, but my knowledge hopefully will increase dramatically as we cover this project over the coming weeks. Who would you say are the direct competitors to this offering, guys?
Well, I think that like the single oracle could potentially in the long run become a competitor. Like if you get one oracle that becomes so big that 80%, 90% of the data are actually coming from that specific and single oracle.
Chainlink.
Of course you had to mention Chainlink. But if you get in that situation where there is really no need for multiple oracles, I think that the possibilities of something like Modefi becomes like very, very little, because it's a niche. You will start paying them just because you need that extra 1 or 2% of the data that are not available to the main one. This, to me at least, is actually like a real possible problem, because, well, jokes aside, but Chainlink is still like a top 10 coin with like 11 billions in market cap. So it's a dinosaur in terms of size. It's like a whale. Like, it's enormous. Whatever data Chainlink wants to plug in, they can do this at this point. So I think that could be the only potential. They're the things that they're trying to help, the things that is like their friend, can become their biggest problems in the future.
Okay. What? Okay. I mean, that's obviously a threat. Where do you see the upside with these guys? Where do you see the real potential for it?
Well, if that doesn't happen, obviously. If you have like a fragmented market, here's the thing. Take, for example, the fact that they allowed you to take data also from exchanges. So from, things that are like completely different from oracles. Does that mean that an oracle cannot do that? No, but, Chainlink could potentially do something like that with no issues. So if we remove that aspects, the simple fact that they allowed to be an option that you can basically like plug and play in whatever condition you need, it's a no-brainer. That's the beauty of something like that. It's like, oh, I'm on Polkadot, or I'm on Polygon, or I'm on Ethereum. What do I use? Modefi works for all three in theory. Like if you consider like the end plan, obviously. Yep. Oh, I need data from Ben. I need data from Chainlink. The code will be done only once. From a coding stand, that means saving days or even weeks of work and money. Now, if you're a project that is worth like 10 billions, maybe money are not really an issue. But if you're a little startup trying to build something and to survive, and then you're like being thrown into this situation where like Ethereum layer 1 is impossible to be used, you need to migrate, you need more time, you need more money, you need to think about this and that. Having something like Modefi that really doesn't change wherever you go, it's good. It's really, really good.
Yeah, okay. I think Modefi and Ethanol, they both kind of do the same thing in this aspect that they help build out the ecosystem for crypto. Like there's projects that are like shooting for mass adoption, like everybody in the world is going to use this, right? These two projects, they're more like targeted at the people in crypto now and the people that are building in crypto now, trying to help them reach mass adoption. It's a tool to reach mass adoption, but it's not going to get mass adopted, I don't think, these two particular projects, but they're going to help everybody that's in crypto, So
imagine this for a second. So we're spending, every time that we're deploying a company on layer 1, around $2,000, $3,000 or $4,000. Okay, which means that that's the reason why we're migrating, because it's impossible for us to keeping up with that. Now, if you have like a company that has like a huge box of like ethanol and UNDG and so on in the wallet, those $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on cost potentially are not even an issue. Because the more clients you get, the more money you're spending in gas, the more cash back you receive. So you're actually making a profit, a double profit on the client. So there is no need to migrate. But let's assume that you want to migrate and you go in that problem of Oraclize that I'm having personally. With Modefi, that problem would not exist in the first place. Because it would be like, oh, okay, just like same code and everything. Maybe Chainlink is not sending me the data to where I am. It's fine. There is still something else that I can plug the data on.
Yeah.
You know, Jordan is 100% right on that. They are projects done for people in the industry that are building inside the industry, that are spending time in the industry and are having problems that only people that are in the space are having. If you're trading on a centralized exchange, chances are you cannot care less about these two things because they don't affect you in any possible way.
Right. Well, I guess that's something we're going to look at closely. I mean, obviously, it's great to have you as part of the show, Stefano. You are using these technologies with your business on a daily basis. I don't think we sort of highlight that enough on the show, but that is the case. And on that note, people, next week we're going to be talking to you about HardForking actually launching, thanks to Stefano's company, Corporatio. So we'll go into a bit of detail on what that's all about. Probably give you a bit of an appreciation of how much you really do understand that tech and what's happening here. And I think these are two really great projects for us to educate an audience on. They are solving problems. We endeavour to really find real world use cases for you and actually use them, which is what we're doing in this scenario. So check
as long as they don't rug pull.
Well, I mean, we've had a rug pull. One of the projects that we reviewed, PAMP and obviously DMM, obviously with this issue with the SEC, how much that particular issue might crop up for other projects. That is something we're going to have a pretty close look at, and we will do that.
It's part of the game. It's one of the things that like we say so many times that is part of the game. Rug pull are part of the industry, and we see that our portfolios, even with projects collapsing down and so on, are still overall up. Yeah. Because we are in a bull run. Because overall you lose one, but the one that survived gives you 2, 3, 4 times more.
Yeah,
and it's ludicrous, in my opinion, to think that you're not going to encounter any new rug pull. It's going to happen. We're trying, obviously, our best to ensure that it's not going to happen again. But, the brutal reality is this. Like, every day, every week, there are someone, rugging pull. Like, it's impossible to catch up on everything. But,
Yeah, look, we do endeavour not, obviously we don't consider this a shill show at all. We're 100% open about any donated funds and how we use them. We're really here to try and show you the utility, how we're trading. On that note, we're also going to get back to looking at how Mr. Gonzo and I are using leverage to trade. I think we've got a good announcement coming up of a new sponsor and partner. Hopefully that's in place next week. And we will be basically showing you the trades we're in, where we are using leverage to trade Bitcoin and Ethereum. We know Stefano's position on leverage trading, so he won't be part of that. He's our spot trader extraordinaire and has made some pretty amazing calls. So we're going to have a look at the competition standings next week as well. I think you may have flow it into the lead, Stefano, with your ethanol play over the last 2
Well,
weeks.
Depends if they do a rug pull tomorrow, then I'm back down and be like the last one. But
Yeah. So look, on that note, people, we hope you check out these 2 new additions to the projects that we are going to be following. That is Ethanol and Modefi. Links are below to all their media. There's things happening with both those projects today if you want to check that out. And also, obviously, do your own research. We're bringing you the content to help you with that. And on that note, there's the links to the long-form interviews with the key people involved there, the CEO of Modefi and one of the lead developers and a marketing guy from Enol. So look, I hope we've imparted some new knowledge for you today. Tell your friends about us, smash the likes, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you all very soon. Thanks for joining us today, guys. Informative as always. Wave goodbye.
Peace out.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye now.